online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. Our show is powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, always helping you win in your real estate deals. If you're buying, selling, or investing, you can look at each aspect of that. Buying, you've got to make sure you structure your deals properly, that you're adding in there's certain tactics that we utilize in an overall strategy to help sellers, maximize the exposure and the profit on the sale of their real estate. So we just had a power outage, it looks like, but we're going to keep rolling. 11722 County Road 672 in Riverview. This is one of our hot real estate listings here in Tampa Bay. We've got a listing here that is a property that is commercial and residential. Could be seen as a commercial property or residential because it's 20 acres, just shy of 20 acres in Riverview. You've got a fully equipped farm that encompasses 19.73 acres. Beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, single-family home. Crafted open floor plan, expansive 40-foot by 100-foot warehouse here in Tampa Bay. And what you have is palm trees. You've got citrus trees as well. And this property it's a great investment. If you are in that agricultural mindset, you've got a warehouse where you can bring your trees, and then you can also have semi-trucks back right up to it. So it's set up perfectly for a warehouse there. And also 11722 County Road 672 in Riverview. Hot opportunity for entrepreneurs, investors, developers, and you never know, a developer might want to change the zoning there or do something, because you got frontage on 672. Great opportunity, one of our commercial real estate opportunities. We also have another commercial property at 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview. This is a commercial property, and it is set up currently as a mechanic shop on one side, and then you have a barber shop on the other. So this could be any type of office space, real estate, mortgage, insurance, title company. Great opportunity here to own commercial real estate at 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview, Florida. Great opportunity, owners motivated, tremendous potential income on this property. Auto repair shop next door on it. But hey, check out our website. You can see all of our real estate listings at platinumcoastalelite.com. That's platinumcoastalelite.com.
This is God's country.
All right, so we are in studio here, and we've got Tom Rydberg back in studio. Tom Rydberg, might be hard to see you here a little bit, but
Good
I'm
to
going
be back.
put the light on you.
This is a first.
Yeah, exactly. We had a little power outage, but we roll with it.
We improvise, absolutely.
When you're in radio, TV, you just kind of roll with it. But yeah, the market is a little bit, it's kind of an interesting market. I think the snowbirds are coming soon, and that's going to provide some relief for mortgage and real estate professionals.
Yeah, I feel like we've been talking about the same topics over the last month or so, and it gets a little stale. But I do still think, these rates are going to come down coming into next year, the end of this year. Snowbirds, that's going to definitely increase demand. A lot of them have a lot of equity or they have cash, so they're not going to be as influenced by the mortgage rates. But there were a lot of interesting news releases. I sent you a couple about what's the rate that consumers are waiting for?
Yeah.
And I guess from the poll that we saw, what was it, like 5.5 is kind of the magic number.
Right. Yeah.
73%, don't quote me on that, of would-be home buyers say they don't want a rate above 5.5. So my logic on that, and I get why they say that, it kind of goes against my strategy on some level in that, when we do get to 5.5, whether it's beginning of next year or later in the year, all those people, that's 73% of buyers, are all of a sudden say, hey, I'm going to go buy a house. So you're going to have this flood of activity, flood of demand.
Pent up demand.
Prices are going to go up. And
Yeah.
if you're not super solid with a big down payment and no home sale contingency, good luck getting one of those houses, because it's it's going to be tough. It's going to be like it was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So that I think is something people have to consider.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And also you think about the tightening of the market right now, the tightening of, I think it's happening in commercial. You're seeing tighter, when you look at the amount of portfolio that's there on the commercial side and these banks and lending institutions and Silicon Valley Bank, not in the too far distant past, I think there's an overall tightening that's going to potentially happen in the credit markets. Have you seen that at all? Or are you seeing?
I haven't seen it firsthand. I think a lot of a lot of companies have kind of forwarded thought and kind of already started pulling back on some of that. But, if you watch Bloomberg, I watch that every morning. They were just talking about that yesterday. A lot of analysts say that's the one of the overhanging risks that's going to potentially derail the soft landing
Right.
that they talk about.
Yeah.
And it's hard to really know how some of those commercial defaults and stuff can trickle through the economy and affect other industries and other markets.
Right.
So, I don't know. That's kind of outside my pay grade. I know enough to be dangerous, but I know they keep talking about it, and I have some friends at banks that's a real concern.
Sure. And if you just joined us, we're talking with Tom Rydberg here, DK Mortgage, on the Consumer Quarterback Show, all things finance. We'd love for you to reach out to the show hotline, 727-263-3707. You can call or text that line, 727-263-3707. And it really makes our day when we get to have conversations with our audience, so we appreciate that. Here's another interesting story, Tom, headline: home buyers cancel purchases at highest rate in 10 months. Home purchases across the U.S. are getting canceled at the highest rate in almost a year as rising borrowing cost weighs on buyers. Nearly 60,000 deals to purchase homes fell through in August, and that's, of course, that's nationwide. According to a report released Friday, that's an equal to roughly 16% of homes that went under contract last month. Biggest share of cancellations since October of last year. What's your thoughts?
Well, you know what October of last year was? That's when we started to see that big increase in rates. So
Right.
people kind of weren't used to it, and they were excited they'd finally get a contract, and then they would look at their numbers and kind of get sticker shock and pull out. But that's one reason, obviously. What do you see on your end as far as buyer remorse, or people that they finally get under contract and then they have second thoughts?
Well, I've got a good example for you because I've had, sometimes it's just pure luck, right?
Yeah.
In this business, there's a lot of skill and strategy, and but in this business, you never know. But we've had one property that we have literally had 5 different contracts on. So imagine having to go back to the seller.
Sold it 5 times.
Literally,
Yeah.
sold it 5. I wonder if I get paid 5 times my commission, right? No, but buyers lost their job. So that's another problem,
Yeah.
right? So the employment market, the challenges with potential job losses, unemployment rate. People just say, "Hey, I'm going to stay at home. I'm not going to work, or I'm going to do a side hustle," like Mark was just talking about.
Yep.
I'm going to start my own business. People are losing their jobs too.
Yeah, they do that. Home inspections, I know that sometimes will derail a deal. Financing sometimes. So, that's the other thing, working with a good agent, a good team like you guys, these other agents, the listing agents, and you don't just necessarily say, "Hey, we lost this one." You reach back out to that agent and say, "Hey, I don't want to jinx you, but if something falls through, let us know. We're ready to go."
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've gotten a couple of deals that way done. So, I think it's setting the right expectations, and that goes for the lender. When we're doing pre-approvals for people, we are consulting them not only about the market we're in right now, but you're not under contract. So a lot can change between now and you finally get under contract. So let's not do that pre-approval to the absolute max, or we don't want to put in some fictitious interest rate that makes you feel good now, because that may not be what you get, a month, 2 months, 3 months from now.
Yeah.
So I think everybody needs to be kind of aware of what's going on in some of these strains in the market, and kind of, educate their clients on what can affect the final outcome.
Right. So. Yeah, something else I've seen, or kind of a trend, is that the investor, it seems like the investor side is kind of slowed down in terms of the Airbnbs, the short-term rentals, because you get to a point of saturation in a sense. Have you seen that at all? Any kind of saturation in that investor side, especially specific to the short-term rentals?
Yeah, for sure. In Sarasota County, and there's some new laws, ordinance that are going to go into effect restricting short-term rentals, and in so many markets, right? So people people want to get in after the fact. So I think the short-term rentals, I own a few, and I got a super low rate a few years ago. I was able to get it before prices went up, and they cash flow fantastic. It's a little tougher to come in now,
right,
with prices still elevated in some areas, higher rates. The numbers don't work as well, and I don't know what's going on with Airbnb and some of these other platforms and municipalities. So, I think like anything, I think diversify your investments and even your real estate. Maybe you have a couple of long-term. There's some great opportunities for new construction between here and Sarasota and Parrish. I was driving up, and I still love that town. And Wesley Chapel is booming. Yep. Those are great areas. So you can get a long-term rental that gives you a little bit more stability,
right,
and kind of grind out the long, kind of buy and hold. And then, short-term. And sometimes you can do a combination. I have a client that's buying a single family for a long-term rental, but then it's got a coach home that he can do Airbnb for.
Nice.
And maybe even live in the main house if he wants to, and kind of have that effect of like a multi-unit.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. People can, you can definitely win in those scenarios. You can win when you have that. Any element of passive income that you can have in a real estate investment, it's going to be a win-win. Plus, you get the tax implications. There's a lot of advantages there.
That listing you have with the 20 acres on the farmland with the storage, that has endless possibilities.
Right. Yep.
I want to keep us up to date on who ends up buying that and what they end up doing it.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. Thinking outside the box.
Exactly. Yeah, I love it. Let's take a quick break there. More with Tom Rydberg when we come back. Also, interesting, I kind of came across this. It's trending online. October 4th, there's going to be a test of the emergency broadcast alert system. It's kind of a interesting scenario. FEMA, FCC kind of teaming up on that. I'm going to play a clip on that. And more with Tom Rydberg coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider who shares your values. They offer the very best nationwide coverage on 4G and 5G LTE networks and exceptional 100% US-based customer support. Patriot Mobile offers discounts for veterans and first responders, NRA members, and families with multiple lines. Learn more at patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. That's patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. Or if you'd like to give us a call, you can reach out at 727-263-3707. That's 727-263-3707. And we'd be happy to tell you more about Patriot Mobile. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. You can reach me at 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Mortgage loans are subject to approval based on program guidelines, borrower's credit, and underwriting approval. Tom Rydberg, NMLS ID number 221474 and Florida number LO20395 is an agent of Draper and Kramer Mortgage Corporation. NMLS ID number 2551 and Florida MLD 494, an equal housing opportunity lender.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, we're back. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Tom Rydberg in the house, mortgage expert, contributor, all things real estate, mortgage. We'd love to talk to you. PlatinumCoastalElite.com is the real estate website. ConsumerQB.com is the website for radio talk show. You can see all of our expert contributors there online as well. And so we're in studio here, and I was just kind of mentioning this story about October 4th. I don't know if you've heard about this yet, but it's a emergency alert system. I'm going to play this clip from one of the podcasts I listened to, and then we'll talk about it.
Everybody, now listen. October 4th is trending online, and it ain't for a good reason whatsoever. This is not going to be just a normal Wednesday, October 4th. Everything's fine. What's going to happen is FEMA, partnering with the FCC, is about to launch the most massive alert test in U.S. history. And even if you usually have your phone on silent, even if you usually put your notifications, quiet, you don't want any kind of tone, even if you unsubscribe from the Amber Alerts, even if you unsubscribe from the Silver Alerts, the Weather Alerts, this one you ain't going to be able to turn off. And nobody wants to know about this kind of stuff, but we're still going to know about it. Kind of like Kim Kardashian's butt injections. We don't want to know, but we still know about it.
Yeah, so it's this emergency, and the thing that comes to my mind is in this year or these last couple of years, look at all the people that had some major setbacks due to COVID. You look at the number of suicide, mental illness. This is another, in my opinion, it's another way for the government. And you look at FEMA, right? There's been a lot of things pointed towards them. Criticisms pointed towards them, and then you got the FCC. But there was no alarm sounding in Hawaii, and that would cause a lot of the problems with the Maui fires. And there's conspiracies there about, are they trying to buy up the land? I mean, we talked to a friend that lives there right now, and that's kind of the rumor there. But to me, this is just a way to stoke fear, and I think it could be a misdirection play.
I'm not really sure I understand. So they're just going to do their alarm is going to go off regardless if you have notifications on, whether you have your phone on. Yep. It's just going to basically,
emergency testing. Here's what it says on one of the posts online too. It says FEMA's integrated public alert warning system. And there's, of course, an acronym for it, IPAWS, a centralized internet-based system administered by the FEMA, enables authorities to send automated or authenticated emergency messages to public throughout multiple communications networks, et cetera, et cetera. So, so it's like it's an alarm, but just think about it. People get fearful. People are so fearful. And then when they have you in this mode of being fearful, the government can do what they want.
Yeah, that's scary. So what time of the day are they setting
2:20. I think it was 2:20.
All right.
Yeah, so 2:20 on the 4th. Just get ready to power your phone down
or
turn
I'll
it
be at
off.
A bar and we'll have an alert party.
Whatever you do, right? But anyway, so that's kind of something I came across, and I thought, man, that's interesting. I'd like to share that with my audience. But
I appreciate you digging that stuff up. The stuff that kind of flies under the radar sometimes.
I think it's an alarmist type thing, though, man. Here's something too to look at when you think about incomes and where we're at as far as Bidenomics. Check this out.
Now, this latest inflation news comes just a day after another concerning report. That one was regarding household income. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this one went under the radar, but very concerning to say the least. So on Tuesday, the Census Bureau released new data showing that when adjusted for inflation, median household income in America fell 2.3% last year. That is the largest annual drop in over a decade, and now the third straight year of decline. Back in 2019, household income hit a record high of $78,250. Last year, it fell to $74,580. And when you look closer, the numbers get even worse. When taxes are taken into account, real median income levels fell 8.8% to $64,000. And there's even more concerning data with regard to poverty rates. Last year, the after-tax poverty rate jumped 59% compared to the year before. It's now at 12.4% after sitting around 7% in 2021.
So so not good news.
No, so that's just another data point that kind of says inflation has to come down. I mean, it's coming down already, but rates have to come down. I mean, there's just there's a big pot of a mess that's brewing, and it's going to overflow here soon enough. And that's just another point. I mean, people can't. You're going to have a recession if people aren't making enough money to pay for their groceries, their rent, their mortgage, etc. Something's going to give.
Pharmaceuticals, and you also look at the dollar. The challenges there with the dollar and the BRICS. And I mean, that's a major concern. And these dollars that are being sent to Ukraine. There's some interesting reports on one of the other podcasts I listen to as well, on Bannon's podcast. He's, some people that are over at Monte Carlo. He says if you go to Monte Carlo right now in Italy, you have, one of the richest areas in the world. There's a lot of Ukrainians spending a lot of money, which probably is our U.S. tax dollars being spent.
Sure.
Having fun, partying.
No, and that's happened throughout time. I think every time we can't keep track of our own money sometimes, let alone when we send it overseas to some foreign government. Nobody's tracking it.
Exactly. Yeah, so scary times there as far as that goes. But hey, we've got we've got perseverance as Americans. We always seem to come through, and we're living in the best state. So that's the best thing too. We're in the state of Florida.
For sure.
Governor DeSantis kept us free here in the state, and I think there's a lot of people, and we're just a few weeks away from this migrant, or not migrant, snowbird push.
Yes. That, and I think next year, election year, you're going to start to see some change, or at least the foundation. It's really important for people to get involved, get out there, really pay attention to the issues, and hopefully we just got to get through the next the phase we're in right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because things were going pretty good a few years ago.
Well, I mean, even that last clip talked about how the household income incomes in 2018 were the highest they had been.
Yeah.
In just in 2018. So yeah, there's hope. There's hope there, and
sure.
And one of the things to think about too is just to get prepared for. What would you say in terms of getting everything ready, getting that pre-approval ready, and then you also had an interesting story about an application for someone that had an application with you about their.
This was a funny one. I always get, just when you think you've heard it all. I had a woman call last night, wanted a pre-approval for a purchase. Already knew that she had some challenges with her, her fiance's credit, so she wanted her brother to co-sign. I'm like, great. So he sends his application. He's got no W-2 income. I just see these capital gains of like $7 million for 1 year, $8 million for the next. I'm like, okay, what's your business? Are you flipping warehouses or what?
Yeah,
it's crypto.
So
this dude got into crypto a long time ago, and now he's, obviously that's what he does. He sells to live off of and buy stuff, and I need to follow up with him. So I don't know if he was buying crypto when it was like $1 for a Bitcoin, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. So, but yeah, getting back to planning, that's kind of an extreme case, but she's done her planning. She knows she needs some help with her fiance and his credit. Doesn't want to start looking until she has her ducks in a row, so she's ready to go. And I think that's good advice for anybody. So that group of people that is waiting for 5.5%, I hope they have their ducks in a row. I don't know that I'd wait for that hard number, but at least have your credit, have your savings, know what programs are out there for first-time home buyers, for for existing buyers. Talk to you, hey, should I be selling this property at 2.5%, or talk to me about what are the rental opportunities.
Right.
While it's my primary resident at 2.5%, maybe I should go get a line of credit so that when I start looking at that new home in 6 months, I have access to that money. I don't have to give up that 2.5%. So planning.
Yeah, get it ready and team up with a good real estate team. That way you can have the search set up. You can start looking, and then sometimes we find off-market properties as well. Yeah. So those off-market properties sometimes can be a godsend as well there.
Or the people that those cancel deals, right? So somebody got, unfortunately that deal fell apart, and maybe that seller really needs to sell. And if you have a pre-approved buyer and they have their ducks in a row, they can get a little bit of a bargain.
Substitute, jump right in there.
Yeah, and makes up for maybe they don't get the 5.5% they're waiting for, but they're saving enough on that contract now to make up for it.
Right. Yeah, I like it. That's a good tip. All right, what's the email? Close Faster?
CloseFaster@gmail. Website's loansearch123.com.
CloseFaster@gmail. Loansearch123.com.
You got it.
Tom Rydberg, DK Mortgage, in studio. Check them out online, and also support the program, support the local economy by working with our expert contributors, just like Tom Rydberg here, DK Mortgage, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty, online at consumerqb.com. And also check out the YouTube channel. We've got over 2,000 videos now on our YouTube channel, youtube.com, Brandon Rhymes Realty, or you can search Brandon Rhymes REQB. And Tom, always a pleasure catching up with you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Good seeing you.
Thanks for coming in. And absolutely. And please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been